Hello, I'm Niall Livesey, host of PRN Tech. If you're coming to us over from the Perpetual Radio Networks channel, welcome. This is an addendum to our full review and episode of TestDrive Spotlight on the 2018 Lincoln Navigator Reserve short wheelbase. Now, the reason why we're doing this way is because we've decided to branch off the PRN Tech show as its own channel. You know, we had a couple hundred views on each video that we did, but we did have some people start to get a little confused as to why we were producing more than just one show on a channel. And this is the first way we're going to see if we can continue to do some crossover work between the two shows. So for example, we talked about the Lincoln Navigator in our spotlight, but now we want to talk a little bit more about the tech and specifically what's going on with this rear entertainment. It's a pretty expensive package that's optioned on this car, and we found that it didn't work right off the bat. We are able to watch movies on the screens back here, and you have to use, it's not a touch screen, these devices back here, they are little buttons here. Now, we did have some issues with it before. It did take a little while for us to get things to work because we put, first of all, there's no DVD player, no Blu-ray player. Can you imagine that? I know, most people right now, they're thinking, well, why would you want it? Everybody's buying things online. But are they? Are people really buying movies on iTunes to keep and then not having a physical copy? I like personally having a retail copy of a movie, and then that way, when we have a vehicle that has a rear entertainment system, we can actually put it in for our daughter. But in this case, there was no Blu-ray player in here. The digital copies we have, we never activate them. They're still sitting there. So we had to get video files onto our computer, put them on a USB drive, and then get them onto this device system set up here. And the other issue we had too is you can't use a Mac. It can't be a format that Mac would use. So Mac OS X journaled, you cannot use that on these thumb drives. It needs to be either NTFS or Fat32. So you basically need to have a Windows computer in order to get the files to work. Now, the USB is plugged in right now. You can put on different movies if you want to off the same USB because at least the screen here on our passenger side, the right side of the car, doesn't have any inputs. There's a headphone jack and that's it. The USB, HDMI, and SD card readers are all built into the screen behind the driver. But we can watch a different movie back here, and then we can also watch the same movie that's going on the other screen there, but it would start from the beginning. So if you have two kids back here and they both want to watch the same movie, but maybe one of them started it before, you can do it that way. But if you want to, you can go back out of this source menu and you can essentially set it up. You can go back in to the videos. But there are other sources too. If you have a Sling player, I don't know who uses that. Now you can also mirror. So for example, if you're watching the same movie, you can just have it mirror over and it works pretty well. And you can also just set it up to fast charge the device. Now obviously you don't want to do that with a thumb drive in there. It could cause some issues, so you don't want to play with that. But you can get it kind of set up that way and it works pretty well. But what we always like to do when we're taking a look at these, now that we figured out that it does need to be NTFS or Fat32 to get your little movies to play on here, and there is no DVD drive or a Blu-ray drive, got us thinking, what can we do to have more fun with this thing? Now we're going to turn off the monitor there just in case we get a DMC takedown. We're actually not pirating the movie that's playing there, sorry. It's not meant for you guys to watch it for free. So what we're going to do now, because we always like to do something different, we're going to see, can we take our Xbox One S here, and can we connect it to work with the Lincoln Navigator here? Now really it should work exactly the same way that our experiment with the Cadillac, not necessarily the Escalade, it didn't work with that, but with the Cadillac CT6, we were able to get our Roku to connect to it because it does have Wi-Fi, and same with this. You can pay AT&T a monthly charge if you want to have an LTE connection in this vehicle, and it has a hotspot, so you could use the Wi-Fi on here if you wanted to. You could play games on the go, so we're going to see. So we've got our Xbox One S here. We have the headphones that come with this. We also have a power cable and an HDMI. Really, it's all we need, in theory. There is a USB outlet back here that you can plug devices into in the center console, but there's also a 110 volt, 150 watt plug, which theoretically should work if we plug in our Xbox here. And I'm going to be super disappointed if it does not work and that we have issues. Maybe I should read it first, shouldn't I? What does it even say? I don't even know what the power rating is on the Xbox. 100 to 240 volts, 1.8 amps. Well, I'm assuming it'll current itself down to the appropriate amperage. Now we're going to plug in, that's not a, obviously HDMI, whatever, 2.2, 2.3, whatever it is, 2.1 that you would normally need. This is just an older HDMI 1.4, but you don't really need it. Now, before we get it turned on, because I want to save the best part for last, we are going to go into these settings here. We're going to change the source to HDMI on, should probably do HDMI here. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if you're doing source. HDMI, there's only one input. So HDMI, and it says it's not connected, and that's fine. And it doesn't seem to allow us to go into it if it's not connected yet. So we're going to see here, we're going to click HDMI. Yeah, let's just start it up. Click sounded good. Still says it is not connected. Just do it again. Seems like it turned off again. Unless there's not enough current that's coming through here, or unless this cable should be fine. There's like a light on here and it doesn't seem to turn on. Nothing, doesn't work. Now the other issue too, the Xbox usually doesn't turn on if it doesn't have a source. So I mean, that I guess could be an issue if it's not really detecting the HDMI cable properly, but it does kind of just turn off right away. So it might be because of this. Maybe it's just not, it's not sending the right amount of power to it, but yeah, it just keeps turning off. So, well, that's depressing. That basically kills the whole video there. Okay, so that didn't really work. Don't know why, and I think it's just probably because of this. Maybe there is no option though. That's the only thing. There's no option to be able to turn it on, because some cars I know when they have those power outlets, you need to actually enable something for it to work, but there are no settings for it. I've gone through the menus on this car quite a bit and nothing shows up. So I don't know. It could be because the Xbox does actually need more than 110 volts. It's very possible, right? Maybe, I don't know. It sucks though. I was hoping to be able to try it out. There are a lot of USB plugs in here, so theoretically you should be able to get a Roku to work if you wanted to be able to have a device connected to this at all times, so you can watch things on the go, especially if you're paying for that mobile broadband connection with the AT&T service that's offered here. Then theoretically, if you had people back here and they needed to be entertained all the time like our daughter is, you could get a little Roku. You could actually hide it much better. You know, there's a little storage cubby here that was supposed to be for the cup holders, but since this is optioned with the rear, center console entertainment thing here, it's redundant. There's already a set of cup holders here, so you could really kind of connect everything in there, hide the Roku, and maybe even set something up, because you could set it up with your phone. You could use, especially if you were to buy the Roku, the Roku Premier Plus, it's more of a USB type of remote, so you actually don't need to use infrared to point at it. So if you had something like that, threw it in there, then you might have a better experience. You could just hide it away, might not see it, and then you could have your thing playing here. You'd have to run the cable along the chair, but for the most part it would work. So that's an option there. But I did find, with the entertainment system on the back of the BMW M760 Li that we did, as well as the entertainment system in the back of the Cadillac CT6, they were both very straightforward. We really just put it in a Blu-ray and it was good to go. So I think that it could be an issue for some people who are looking to get this as a minivan replacement. They want their kids to be able to watch some stuff back here. Please note, there is no Blu-ray DVD player. I don't understand why they've removed it. Obviously cost cutting, and I guess Lincoln feels that people don't watch Blu-ray DVDs anymore, but I still think that there's good value for families to be able to have that as an option for these vehicles, because it is difficult for kids to be entertained these days, right? You want to be able to keep them entertained. If you don't have a Blu-ray or a DVD player and there's screens back here, you're really limited to NTFS files that you can get onto your computer, because I guess you could get a Blu-ray copy that has a digital copy and then download it through iTunes. It's usually DRM'd, and I don't know if these would support the DRM that Apple uses on iTunes, so you really are kind of stuck. So I don't know. I'm giving this a review based on our experience with the Cadillac Escalade. I know it wasn't perfect, but at least it had DVD players. I'd say that this is pretty poor in terms of rear entertainment. I think that they could do just one thing, just add the DVD player. Even a DVD player is pretty cheap these days, so you can add that. But overall, I mean, the rest of the tech in this car, there isn't anything that's overly exciting. And I know we wanted to talk about more of the tech, but really, you know, the sync navigation system in the front doesn't do a whole lot more than we've seen on other Ford products. In fact, it doesn't do anything more than what we found on other Ford products. So this car doesn't really have like a lot of tech going on for it. It really is these rear screens back here that we were hoping to talk more about. And now that we can't get the Xbox to work, it kind of ruins the whole thing. So that's kind of where we're at with that. And I think it's a good way to end the show. I know it was a weird one. We were hoping to do a little bit more with the Xbox back here, but sometimes things don't work. So thanks for watching this video. If you're interested in more tech-related things, we are doing more of it now that we've branched off the PRN Tech channel from the Perpetual Radio Network's YouTube channel. So you can subscribe here if you haven't done so already. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. I guess you can give us a thumbs down if you didn't, but we'd appreciate it if you told us why. And I know it wasn't really what we were hoping to get back here, but it sometimes happens. And we're hoping to do some more stuff like this, especially when we have a vehicle that has a little bit more technology going on. Maybe not so much this one. This might not have been the best candidate, but when we have vehicles that have more tech in them, we do want to try to branch it off so that we can spend a little bit more time talking about these things, because I think there's going to be some people Googling 2018 Lincoln Navigator DVD player or 2018 Lincoln Navigator rear entertainment doesn't read USB. And I'm hoping that you guys have come to that here and you're wondering how you can get it to work. Simple answer: NTFS, Fat32 USB thumb drives or SD cards. It's the only way it'll read them. So thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.